United States government is hiding the existence of aliens and UFOs. This is old news, right? Well, now we have new evidence for it, or at least I do. Terry Lovelace has come forward in a recent interview talking about why he believes he was hypnotized by the military and regressed to remember his experience and to get all the details of his experience. And the details are going to shock you. Get in here. This is Jack Connor with Cosmic Road. I talk about UFOs and the paranormal. Please hit like, please subscribe, share on social media. Please join me there. There's Facebook and Twitter links below. And of course, comment below and let me know what you think. Now, I've talked about the Terry Lovelace story a lot. I love it. It's one of my favorite stories because he's a highly credible guy, military guy. Not into sci-fi or anything, who is taken with his friend aboard a giant UFO when they go to this particular meadow. And they see, among other things, that there are upwards of 50 military and government officials working with the beings aboard this giant freaking UFO. That, by the way, is bigger on the inside than the outside. The outside is huge. It's as big as a Walmart, but inside is as big as a giant football stadium or the like. So a truly massive thing that bends the laws of physics as we understand them. And that, by the way, conforms to many other experiencers who say similar things, that they can be bigger on the inside, they can change their shape on the inside to conform to whatever the beings need, etc. So truly anomalous, intriguing vehicles that do whatever the occupants want them to do. Well, anyway, in the clip we're about to get to, and of course, I have to add here that Lou Elizondo, upon hearing Terry Lovelace's story, called him credible. So there's that. So this is a guy that saw military and guys working with the beings on a giant UFO that's bigger on the inside than the outside. Lou Elizondo calls him credible. And, you know, Lou has to walk a fine line, not to say too much, but he can say a lot without saying very much at all. And by calling Terry credible, he validates a lot of this. So in the clip I'm about to share with you, Terry describes why afterwards the military forced him to undergo regression therapy. And I have probably heard Terry say this before in previous interviews, but it really registered today, and I wanted to share this with you in case you had missed it too. So here goes.
And he takes you through this progressive relaxation thing. And I tried to do the opposite. I tried to covertly tense my muscles. Rather than focus on his questions, I tried to give him no more than half of my conscious mind. And in the other half, I was playing, you know, Beatle music, lyrics to Rolling Stones. I was doing multiplication tables. I was doing everything that I could think of in my mind to keep from giving him my mind. But the drug I had no control over whatsoever.
I take it you gave them all the information at that point because of the drug. Anything they asked you, you would have spilled the beans as such.
They did, and I have more memories of what happened to me today because of that. You know, I say that I had these snippets. Well, this brought back more detail, more vivid color. I could see these things in my mind's eye, in my head, and actually reliving it like the memory that it was. I could see things in much better detail.
Why were they asking you these questions? To what end? Was it just to find out exactly what happened? They clearly had an idea that something otherworldly had happened to you. Why? What was their end game?
I had a reputation as an amateur photographer. And I had a little dark room set up in my house. And if you know anybody who has the hobby of photography, you know how irritating they can be because they always have a camera and they're always taking pictures of stuff, and I was that guy. So I had a reputation of being a photographer. The whole purpose of this exercise, I believe, I think they knew exactly what I saw. I don't think for a minute that they were surprised by that at all. I think that was just routine. The purpose of this exercise was to determine, did I have a 36 exposure roll of film of this thing? I wish I had. God, I wish I had. But and again, speaks to the power of these things, their control over us. As much as I love photography, through the entire process, the thought of picking up a camera and taking a photograph never crossed my mind.
Boom! There you go. The military thought Terry was going to have photographic evidence of the beings and potentially of the government's involvement with the beings. And they wanted to cover that stuff up. So they hypnotized him to see what he had. And he didn't have anything, and they ultimately let him go. Although they separated he and his friend and caused a division between he and his friend. And it looks like they probably planted some sort of hypnotic suggestion or some supernatural suggestion even to him and his friend so that they would not be friends anymore. Really kind of a diabolical thing, kind of a sad story, really. But at any rate, there you have it. Terry believes they wanted to suppress this photographic evidence, and that's why they hypnotized him to recover his memories of that evening. Now, of course, that shouldn't be surprising. They've been suppressing this stuff forever, and there's so many stories of the Men in Black going around scaring people to death, and possibly worse than just scaring them to death, to suppress information about UFOs and UFO occupants and the government's interaction with them. I should add that Sean Kirkpatrick of Arrow is continuing that long tradition of suppressing UFO information. The recent U.A.P. report was nothing but lies. He and Avi Loeb just recently released a scientific paper basically downplaying the phenomenon and saying we have to use conventional physics, our understanding of conventional physics, and apply that toward the study of UFOs. As if that's going to get anywhere. As if UFOs obey our understanding of physics. Well, guess what, guys? It gets even weirder. Because Terry says he believes the government is aiding and abetting the beings coming and going from that particular location where he and his buddy had this crazy encounter. Let's hear what he has to say.
The U.S. government spends taxpayer dollars to send a guy up there with a tractor to clear cut the top of this plateau. So there's nothing growing up there. And I guess my question is, why? But that's what's done.
Have you ever had a good reason as to why they may do that? Has anyone ever came back to you to say, actually, here's a justification to spend that money and clear it, or is that still a mystery?
Well, it's owned by the Bureau of Land Management, and nobody there is taking questions. So,
okay,
I'm sure that there has to be a reason. Other than to burn gasoline, there has to be a reason. It's an assumption on my part, but I'm left with the assumption that ET comes and goes from there. I mean, what other reason can I think of? I think it's a landing spot.
Whoa, isn't that fascinating? So not only were they trying to suppress information about UFOs and about the military working with UFOs and making darn sure that Terry did not have any photographic evidence, but they were also clearing land for the aliens to come and go. So that is nuts. That is mind-blowing. Again, it shouldn't be surprising. There's so many accounts of the beings working with the military and the government, about the beings at Area 51 and other installations. But it is kind of funny to imagine them going and, knocking over some trees or clearing some land for UFOs to come and go. So I thought I would share that with you, along with the new evidence, or at least new to me, that the military actually goes through the trouble of hypnotizing people to make sure they don't have any photographic evidence. I hope you've enjoyed this video. If you have, please give it a big thumbs up. I would really appreciate it. Smash that subscribe button and the bell to be notified of future videos. You don't want to miss a thing. Join me on social media. There's Facebook and Twitter links below. I'd love to see you there. And check out some of my other videos. Until next time, this is Jack with Cosmic Road signing out.